Tom Vasel, and welcome to Lookback, a show in which I go back and I take a look at the reviews I did a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago, and tell you where they are now. So we'll start last year. I took a look at Long Cow, which comes in looks like a carton of milk, and if you tilt it over, it says moo. And that's cool, but the game inside is not that interesting. It's about building a long cow, which sounds funny, but there's not enough pieces in it, and some people will end up being frustrated. It's for kids, it doesn't work. End of Trail, really cool box, really cool artwork, really cool upcoming game from the same company, but End of Trail itself was okay. A little too lucky, a lot too lucky actually. Stellar Leap, this was a nice little space exploration game. I probably could have used maybe a few bigger pieces. The rules were slightly wonkier than I would have liked, but as a whole, just going around as a race, an alien race, and trying to, establish different colonies, had some neat dice mechanisms in it. Squirmish, this is a silly little game about placing these weird creatures down that attack ones next to it. This is the kind of game that I really want to like, and in this case I did enjoy it. It is a bit of a take-that style game, but a fun one. Orbis is a game which is very puzzly. You're building your own continent world, essentially, as you put these tiles out. It doesn't have a ton of choices, but the choices it does have are really thinky, and some really interesting ideas. When you take something, you put cubes on the spots next to it, and you're slowly building up, trying to get points. If you're looking for a thinky style Euro game, this is it. Dinosaur Tea Party is a deduction game. It's a light deduction game from Restoration Games, as you're trying to figure out which of the dinosaurs you're trying to pick one of them. Is it the dinosaur drinking tea, or are they eating, or are they, do they have this characteristic about them? But there's a few twists and turns in this one. Hocus and Pocus, this is this is a comic book, a graphic novel adventure for kids that you play through. You go through and do it. Now, it's really easy. It's definitely made for kids. The artwork is great. My kids liked it. I took a look at the expansion for Clank, Gold and Silk. There are spiders in it. Kind of scary. Another dual-sided board with some extra abilities. I actually liked both boards. MacGyver escape room game. An IP escape room doesn't sound like it's a good idea, but it worked really well. Things that you might expect to find in the game are in the game. So that's it's very entertaining. Actually, it's one of my favorite escape room games. Terraforming Mars Prelude, my favorite expansion for Terraforming Mars. It's also the smallest. All it does is it adds a card that gives you like a jump start in the game. Fantastic. I will always play with it when I'm playing Terraforming Mars. 5 years ago, I reviewed the game Worker Placement, the worker placement game about temp workers. It's a funny name. Unfortunately, the game itself wasn't very good. Student Bodies, it's another Monopoly game from Smirk and Dagger. Not Monopoly, Zombies. Zombopoly, no, nothing to do with Monopoly. Just zombies. And it's in a high school. It's really generic. The artwork's nice, but the game itself, Tortuga, a game about rolling dice, a pirate-style game from Queen. It's okay. Madam Ching, this is a racing game that's really interesting, and I think this one actually has held up. And if you ever get it, if you see this in a bargain basement, you should get it. Madam Ching, as you're trying to move using cards to go across this board. There's a broken card in the game, but the rest of the game plays very smoothly. Magnum Opus is a very unique, intriguing deck building game. As you're trying to find your Magnus Opus and spells, and it's all kinds of it's hard to explain. Go watch my review, but I've not played a deck builder like it, and I think it got very little love when it came out. Battle Merchants is Gilhover's first design, I think, before he went off and started his own company. But it's a game in which you are merchants selling to both sides that have a fight, to the dwarves and to the goblins, or the goblins and the elves. Really plays well. Some interesting ideas. And that's why I bumped it up a bit. And the Battle of Five Armies, while still I think it's a fantastic game, I don't get these giant two-player games at the table as much, but it does the Battle of Five Armies from The Hobbit, and it does so in a really well-done way. I enjoy it. 10 years ago, I took a look at Kingdom Core, which I probably wouldn't have even played these days, because while the artwork's okay, the rulebook's atrocious, the rules are bad, moving around, it's just Anyway, Polar Derby. This is a kids game. It's been actually been rethemed a few times. That just didn't work really well. Neither did Crafty Badger, honestly, which is from Haba. There's a lot of cool kids games out there. These ones just didn't work for my kids at the time, which 10 years ago, wow, my kids were of very different ages then. Letter roll, a party style game, rolling letters, trying to get words. It's okay. Restaurant row. I love the idea of this game. It has menus that you're going to be putting your cards and things into. But I have to ding it because nowadays the quality of this style game almost feels like a homemade game. The game itself plays well enough. I'm happy enough with it. I like to see this one redone with better components. And Masters Gallery, which is essentially modern art, the card game. In fact, I believe later on it might have been remade that way. Modern art, this auction game for art, drifted from me a bit, but not too bad. And I think the card game, or Masters Gallery, is more enjoyable for me than the actual board game. Those are the reviews that I did 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Look Back on the Dice Tower.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.